Thank you so much for your time. Let's get into it. Consider me as an alien who don't know anything about real estate.
Okay,
And
no
that is
issues.
true. I can't really visualize square feet, acres, nothing. So as I was getting older, I felt like I may need this topic, like real estate. I need to have some clear mental models or decision frameworks I should have. That's why here am I. So to get the wisdom from the OG of real estate. Before we start, I want to show you something. So it's like I was scrolling on Twitter and I found some buildings in China which was beautifully built, like big ones, were like suddenly blown out like to the ground.
Hmm.
So I was just curious. It made me pause and think, why would like things reach this point, and how can like these things can happen?
See, now when you look at real estate as a word,
Mm-hmm.
it is different than the word we use as a home. Home is different,
Correct.
real estate is different.
Mm-hmm.
Home is your need, real estate is a product. So many people don't understand this concept. Home is where you want to live, where you want to raise your family, where every wall speaks to you, where every room your emotions are attached, memories are there. So that is what is a home. Real estate is a product. For product, you require a manufacturer. In real estate, we call those manufacturers builders or developers who, built up this different kind of homes. Either it's an apartment complex, or it's a layout, or independent houses, or what you call me. When a product is there, there has to be a demand and supply.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is builders build homes anticipating demand. That if I start constructing now, my product may be ready 2 years or 3 years down the line, and I'm anticipating certain demand. Based on that, I create that kind of a supply. Now, if anything goes wrong with demand,
Mm-hmm.
I have created supply, I have created product, and there are no takers, there are no buyers. Now, what do I do with those products? So it becomes an excess supply.
Mm-hmm.
So either I have to reduce my sale price and attract people,
Mm-hmm.
somebody will come. But what happens, take a scenario where you're ran out of population, everybody who is living in that city has a home. You anticipated a particular level of economic growth, that growth has not happened, new people have not come, new jobs have not been created, and you are having an excess supply lying. So in our country, because of our population and still a lot of land regulations, a lot of limitations are there, we can't create such a huge supply overnight. So we don't have such a situation in India especially, but in the developed world, where you can build whatever you want, however many flats you want, there can be a situation where there is a huge oversupply, and you know that this apartments will not be taken by anybody, not for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, but maybe for the next 2 3 decades. Now once you have built a complex, you have to maintain it till the
Correct.
time somebody comes and buys. You have to spend more and more money on it. So there are situations where the best way to do is to demolish it. Because after 5 6 years, if there are still no takers, nothing has happened in and around that town,
It will
then what
become
do
a
you do?
ghost city.
Yeah, it becomes a ghost city. So then the only next option is to demolish it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, certain countries are facing decline in population problem.
Right.
Say like Japan has that problem. South Korea has that problem. Japan problem is very severe.
Right.
Even old towns have become ghost towns because the only people living there were the older generation.
Farmers.
Younger generation had moved out to cities, and as older generation kept passing away, nobody was there to occupy those houses and to pay property taxes, which are very high in these countries.
Mm-hmm.
And to maintain those homes was impossible. So those homes are just lying idle. There are offers in certain European countries, in Japan and in some other places, where they want to give those homes to you for $1, provided You are willing to live there, and you are willing to repair the house and
Right. Maintain it.
maintain it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those kind of global situations as well.
Mm-hmm.
India, fortunately, it's a growing economy. We have enough jobs. Our population is also increasing. Our urbanization is increasing. And there are a lot of restrictions and limitations where you cannot increase supply overnight. So we won't have such a situation.
Okay, so now let's get into the the most elephant questions, fundamental questions. When you say real estate, what does it truly mean? Because for a layperson, we think it's land, building, money. That's all. So I kind of sense there is more to it than just that.
See, as I have explained to you
Yes,
earlier,
it's a product. You
that
mean.
real estate, when you speak, it's a product. Now, you can create a product where you build something on the land, or you just sell the land also. A developed land is also a product. What we normally understand as a layout, where a developer buys a large extent of land, he creates basic infrastructure in that property. He makes smaller plots. He takes all necessary government approvals. He gets water connection, utility
Sewage
connection,
pipelines.
sewage pipeline, all those things. And he gives you a developed plot where you can build your own house whenever you want, and you can reside there.
That is one product.
That's also real estate. Built up residential space where you can
like
use
an
it for your
apartment.
housing, an apartment, or even how independent houses in a large area, multiple houses developer can build. That's second product. Then real estate can be a commercial product also, like office space. That's also real estate.
IT parks,
Like
business
IT
parks.
parks, commercial offices, commercial buildings, retail buildings,
Malls.
hotel buildings, malls. These are all different segments of
Where people have financial
yeah.
transactions.
These are all different segments of real estate.
There is mixed use real
Mixed
estate.
use is there.
What is that mixed use?
Mixed use is, you have some commercial or retail and some residential.
Does that really work? Like, is it a new trend, right? We are seeing.
See, mixed use, there are two types of mixed use. Single building mixed use, and in one locality where a builder is developing, say, around 5 acres or 10 acres or more. In that area, he is putting up some commercial building, some retail building, some residential building. That's again a mixed use. So there is a single building mixed use, there's an area mixed use. So there are different government policies which govern all these things, where you can build, how much you can build, where mixed use is possible, where it is not possible. So based on that, you can even have a mixed use real estate.
So is it safer to say
Then before we go to the next question, one more real estate is there.
which is that?
That is old age real estate.
Okay.
Based on the education and jobs, younger people are migrating to anywhere in the world. You can be a resident of Mangalore or Bangalore, and you may be working in Dubai or US or UK or wherever. Now you have your old parents left behind. Now you don't want to leave them in your own house without any service, facility, no medical support. So there are old age homes. Now old age homes is an old way of defining them. Now they called senior citizen service apartments, where all the services are given to senior citizens. So what happens with this kind of real estate development is, in that old age services, people living there are mostly of that age, who are 60 and above. So they have a lot of company. Recreation facilities are created for them. Friendship kind of thing happens there. Sporting happens there. Health facilities are there. There's one kind of a medical center right in the old age home.
Right.
So various things are taken care of, where they are also happy. They mingle with other people of their age. They have friends. So even children who are working abroad, they feel relaxed that their parents are being looked after. They are also happy. They are enjoying their life. Their health is taken care of. And the most important aspect is that they are safe. See, old people living in an independent house, safety is a major concern.
Is it like a building, or is it like they have the individual plot space?
Say if it's a big city, it can be
it's
a
like
building.
a city. Okay.
No. So like if I have to build a old age service apartments in Bangalore, I would rather build in an apartment. Because I can't afford to buy such a large plot, reserve it, Even the people who are using those services may not be able to afford. But if you are in a outside Bangalore, say you have put these facilities 20, 30 kilometers outside, then you can have independent houses, large property.
Right. Is it picking up now? It's a new thing for me.
It's the fastest growing segment of real estate.
Okay. Does that mean if you were to start into real estate, would that category you would jump into rather than other things in real estate?
I won't say you can start off with that because you need a lot of experience to understand what all you have to provide for that you will not have. Yeah, but it's the fastest growing market, and now it's not seen so much as a real estate. It's seen much, right now it's a service.
Right.
So what happens is, old age home, there are two concepts. One, you buy your house. Now you either pay upfront or you give a large deposit to occupy that house or that real estate. Other thing is, now the services which are coming, you don't have to pay a large deposit. You don't have to buy a large, the house also. You have to pay a monthly service fee, which people can afford, So like, depending on the facilities and the location and the city you are in, you may have to pay anywhere between 25,000 to maybe even 1 lakh a month. Now, people who are living abroad, earning good salaries, they can afford these valuations.
Right.
And they also have a peace of mind that their parents are looked after.
That's why it's priced high.
No, but these things cost also. Because you have to create all the facilities within that one property, where everything
Medical
is taken
facility,
care of. Everything you have
and
to
more accessible space.
Yeah,
like if
more
it's an
accessible
apartment, I
place,
would imagine lift has to be in the door itself.
Yeah.
Like
And now more and more facilities are added to old age services. Like now one property I know in Bangalore, they have even added a kind of a 3-star service apartment. Like the facilities are like of a 3-star hotel. So what happens is, when your children, old age people, children, when they come back to their town and they want to spend 2 weeks or 3 weeks with their parents, then again dislocation happens. Because if you don't have a facility for children to stay there, then what they do is they go and stay in their own house and they take their parents away from the old age home back to their house for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever time they are here. So becomes a dislocation for them. Their routine is gone. Their friends are not there with them. They are neither here nor there. Their health checkups are not there.
it feels like a hostel.
Yeah. So now, instead of doing that, now some of the services they are asking, okay, if you are coming to India or to Bangalore city, say for 2 weeks, you stay in this service apartment, you take it on rent for 2 weeks, so that you are in the same compound where you can interact with your parents, and they are not uprooted from their environment.
Right. So does that mean real estate is nothing but innovative management of space?
It's definitely an innovative management of space, but what developers do is, how do you convert that space into a living space? See, parameters are slightly different for living space and just creating a space. Living space means you have to think about your day-to-day needs, requirements, your recreation, your human needs, your recreation things, your health facilities, sporting facilities. For children, you have to provide something separately. For young people, you have to supply something separately. So like for young people, you may have to give a gymnasium, you may have to give a swimming pool or a jogging track. For senior people, you have to provide separately, like parks or walking tracks or leisure areas. So in a living space, 3 generations may live together. The younger one, the youth, and the senior citizen. All 3 have different requirements for their happy living. And a developer has to provide that. It's going one step further every decade. Like as we move forward,
right,
things are becoming more and more modern, more and more user friendly. More concentration is on recreation, on health issues, and so on and so forth.
Once basic things are taken care, like shelter, privacy, what else, protection. Okay, the building's core things, like core functions, are shelter from the rain, winter, those things, safety for the things they own, and sense of privacy, identity, and control. And also, we are social creatures, so we want to belong to something, maybe a family, a tribe, a city. Very basic need. We are a so apartment takes care of all of these things in the right balance.
Community living,
Mm-hmm.
makes, your attachment to the complex leave alone your home. See, you should not be only attached to your four walls inside your
Right, right.
apartment, but you should be attached to your entire complex where you are there,
It's like a beehive.
like a beehive, So you have friends there, you play games with some friends, or
Mm-hmm.
you walk together with some people, or in the
Drink.
evening you are sitting in the park and talking to some other
Right.
people,
Mm-hmm.
So that makes life interesting, and that is what real estate development is, not only to provide four walls, but to provide balanced
Community.
community living.
Mm-hmm. And what makes the building good in the first place? So when do you say a building is good?
See, again, there are two aspects of a building.
Mm-hmm.
One is the engineering aspect.
Right.
That determines
Structural engineering.
that depends on how the quality of the product you can call.
Hey, let's explore overall everything.
Okay,
What
so
makes
one
the
aspect is the
engineering
engineering
aspect?
part.
What is in the engineering part?
Yeah, I'll come to that. The
Yes.
second aspect is the living part, community living and all. The third aspect is your independent individual space in that community living. So builder has to take care of all these three
Mm-hmm.
to give a very good home to the citizens, to people. Now, engineering part, construction of a building is not masonry. It's a science.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There are calculations, and you need to have the domain experts.
Right.
Say, like, you need a structural engineer, you need a civil engineer,
Soil engineer.
you need an architect,
Mm-hmm.
you need soil experts,
Mm-hmm.
you need mechanical experts,
Right.
you need electrical engineers, you need plumbing experts,
Right.
So it's a whole gamut of things,
Mm-hmm.
Then if you're doing a high rise project, you need fire experts, fire protection
Right.
and all.
Right.
So
Lifts.
it's a huge
I mean, it's
field
a
in
beautiful
itself.
innovation. People don't actually credit buildings. Buildings are the amazing innovation of humanity.
Yeah, it's
Like Haydn's living.
because
It's like
home and housing has kept on improving right from cave age.
Right.
If you look at
from
the
the
way
caves to the Burj Khalifa.
to
It's
Burj
like-
Khalifa, and it will keep itself innovating. Basic way humanity is moving forward is through innovation, and innovation happens. It begins at home first. So like if you see buildings in China,
Mhm.
and the way they are built,
Right.
they are completely different than buildings that are built in India because of the technological gap. Because of the cost gap.
Economy.
Economy. So what happens in China,
Mm-hmm.
you can build a 20-storied building in maybe 20 days,
Right.
but then the cost will be like that. Whereas in India, a 20-storied building may take 3 years, 4 years.
Right. Right.
It depends on the
If you're
builder's
lucky.
capabilities.
So in
Okay.
the engineering, how do you say buildings engineering is great or good?
It will be too much of a technical discussion. If I
No,
have to
is
get
it about
into that.
durability? The fundamental thing
See,
is
the fundamental thing is what I will explain to you is that every building,
Mhm.
the way you build, will have a life of that building. Okay. So, like when you are buying any product,
Mhm.
you buy a cheap shirt,
Mhm.
it may last you maybe for 2-3 months. You buy a good quality shirt, it may last you for 5 years. Same way if you are buying a good quality car, it may last you for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Like we have vintage cars,
Correct.
which are more than 60, 70 years old.
Mhm.
Similarly, buildings,
Mhm.
the way they are built, and the engineering they follow, the more engineering you follow, the more science you follow, the longer is the life of the building.
So you say longevity of the building is the one of the criteria
One
for
of the
a
criteria
good building.
for a good building. Now, because this talk is happening in Mangalore, the
What
first,
is the lifespan of this building?
I'll tell you, the first high-rise building was built by my father-in-law.
Oh wow.
Okay, and that's again an interesting aspect.
Mhm. Is it
Many young
is
people.
there yet? I mean, what
yeah,
was?
yeah, I'll come to that. many young people won't know what is Urban Land Ceiling Act.
Mm-hmm.
Because Urban Land Ceiling Act came in 1974. So what we are talking is 51 years back.
Okay.
So that was the time when our country was a socialist country, and government thought it that each individual should only have this much land and no more
Mm-hmm.
in the urban areas. And if they have more than that land in urban area, it will be taken over by the government for virtually no compensation, and it will be distributed among the poor people.
Mm-hmm.
So my father-in-law had little excess land. So he felt that, it's better to put an apartment building here rather than giving it away to the government. So that's how he started this apartment complex. It's the first high-rise building
In Mangalore.
in Mangalore.
Constructed in 1970s.
He started in 75. He completed in 78.
Nice.
So it's a ground plus 5-story
What's
apartment.
the name of the building?
It's called Lobo Prabhu Court.
Lobo Prabhu Court.
It's on Lighthouse Hill.
Okay.
Now the building is 47 years old. But even today,
Still occupants are there?
fully occupied,
Wow.
and building quality is very strong even now. Looking at the building, you may feel that, it has a long, long way to further go, So that's called the quality of a building.
Longevity.
Where you see a 50-year-old building and you feel that, it's still looking strong. It's not looking all cracked up and, things falling off and, dilapidated and stuff like that. But there are certain buildings which collapsed or which had to be demolished, which are 30 to 40 years old. Because of the poor quality of material use, engineering not being followed as required, things like that. Longevity of a building is the super number one thing of engineering.
Correct.
Second aspect with longevity is your safety also. Say it is like this. You buy a German car, and if there's an accident, you have a better chance of survival in a German car. Okay, I'm not saying Indian cars anyway less than a German car, but in terms of safety, definitely German car is safer.
You have a sense of peace.
Yeah. So if you're driving in a, say, Indian made car, and if there's an accident, the possibility of your getting seriously hurt or even
is more than the German cars.
Than the German car. Okay, people pay more price for German car and less price for Indian cars. So similarly for apartments, if you are looking for cheaper apartments, because it's a product,
correct,
builder will give a cheaper product because he can't afford to give an expensive product at a cheap price. You want a good product, you will have to pay more. But along with that, you get so many other benefits and safety. So suppose in every monsoon you will hear so many buildings collapsing in different cities of India, and so many people are dying,
especially in the north.
Everywhere. Even Bangalore
I keep hearing the bridge collapse.
Even Bangalore it's happened, Bombay it's happening, So all these buildings, many buildings suddenly collapse in the monsoon time. This is primarily because of
the soil,
the quality of the building, which is not commensurate to the longevity of the building. So quality is not only the building as per engineering, but quality takes into control everything. A building will be built based on soil condition, A, B, monsoon condition, C, earthquake issues, 4, wind issues,
right?
5, whether you are on a coastline or you are landwards, because erosion is more
the steel erosion.
So what happens? You take all these factors into consideration, and where you are building, your quality gets determined based on that location specific. Even in one city, you may find hard soil in one place, and you may find just a few meters away very soft soil. So the engineering will be completely different for a very hard soil building and for a soft soil building. Now you can't use hard soil building engineering on a soft soil because both are different. So it's a location specific building has to be designed.
Correct.
Then the second aspect of the building is, the what you call the cosmetic features, aesthetics and all. Okay, what is the tiling you are using? What is the plumbing you are using? What are the electrical wires you are using? And stuff like that. Now, this also, very important because they can be a question of life and death for you.
Fire
Say
in the
if
building.
fire happens in the building because poor quality wires have been used, what
Is that the
happens?
case most of the time? That's why firing happens.
Short circuit happens. Fire happens because of short circuit. Short circuit happens for two reasons: either poor wiring, or people who have bought the house apartment and they play up with the wiring, and short circuit can happen, or the gadgets they are using or of such poor quality that that gadget catches fire. What products you are using, even though your engineering may be good, but the
Small thing can
but
cause
other
a
products
huge
you are
thing.
used, if they are not up to the mark, then there are a lot of risk associated with it, and even longevity of the building may become a problem. Say like leakages.
Right.
Now
Very
your
big
wrong
one.
pipings, your poor quality plumbing can destroy a good quality building, because constant leakage happening will erode your concrete, it will erode your steel in it
Slowly,
slowly, and
gradually.
what happens, the life of the building is reduced to half.
Even look also sometimes
Look also will
internal.
be bad, things like that. I have seen people doing a good job with everything, but the bricks they use for the wall, they may not be of good quality. So many a times you say, no, oh, I was trying to put a nail and
Suddenly, big chunk
big
fell.
chunk fell off.
Right.
Now that also affects the life of the building, because say finally it becomes a homogeneous structure.
Right.
Even bricks become part of the structure.
Right. Right.
So the bricks you use, the sand you use. Now, like you get sand which comes from the salt water area. You get sand which comes from the fresh water. Okay, there are government norms and all. I will not get into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Separate
but
topic.
you are
Yeah.
following those norms. But you have a choice to use salt water sand. You have choice to use fresh water sand. Now, common sense tells you saltwater soil is closer to the sea, where the city is. Freshwater soil is further landwards, which is further away from the city. So, what happens is freshwater sand is always expensive. Saltwater sand is cheaper. Saltwater sand is such a small product, but it can reduce your building life to half. See, if you are buying your flat, whatever price you may be paying, 5,000 a square foot or maybe 10,000 a square foot, whatever price you are paying, soil will not go above 100 rupees a square foot for the entire building. Now, if you use saltwater sand, you may save maybe 25 rupees a square foot. You may get 75 rupees a square foot. For that saving of 25 rupees a square foot, you can reduce the building life to half.
Right. Right.
And then a lot of inconveniences of that salt. Because, if you have plastered your wall with saltwater sand, not treating it, not cleaning it, not processing it, then even your paint, white patches will come, because that salt will keep attacking the paint also. Your plaster will get eroded all the time. Your concrete inside will get eroded. Your steel will get eroded. So a lot of complications. So what happens is you can't do any shortcuts here if you have to give a quality product.
Salt sand is used in the buildings
Because
often, is it?
that's easily available given the legal system in our society. That salt water sand is easily mineable and easily available, whereas freshwater sand is more expensive.
Can the buyer would know? I mean, can the buyer can spot is it constructed from which sand and
First, he has to believe the developer, what he says, what he promises. Second thing, within less than 2 years, he will start realizing what sand has been used.
Right.
It will start showing itself.
Right.
But by that time, it is too late. You have paid the builder everything.
Right.
So, but you will know. Within 2 years, salt water sand will start showing itself.
Then you have to realize the durability of the building is half of the.
And where all it has been used. Whether it has only been used in plaster or whether it has been used even in concrete.
Foundation.
Because when you are making your concrete, you need sand to be put in the concrete.
Right. Right.
Now, what sand has gone there?
That is
also
important, right?
Because if you put salt water sand in your concrete also, then your concrete is also going to become weaker.
Mhm.
Steel inside the concrete will start eroding because it's
Right.
directly in touch with the salt. So a lot of these issues are there,
Mhm.
which customer will not come to know so fast.
So they
And
have
this
to.
saltwater sand is a major issue in the coastline. So like in Bangalore, you will not get saltwater sand.
Mhm.
In Bangalore, you don't get any sand. So you get something called manufactured sand,
M sand.
M sand,
Mhm.
which is good.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's good.
Okay.
M sand for quality of work is good.
The lifespan of the
Lifespan
building
of the
wouldn't
building is
matter.
good.
Mhm.
The saltwater sand is only problem with the coastline.
Mhm.
So like a city like
Easily
Bangalore,
available.
easily available, and tempting for the builder to save
Right.
some small money. It's
Cut
not a big
cost.
issue.
Right.
It's not a big cost,
Mm.
but everyone follows
If
their
he
own.
isn't long term
Yeah.
minded or short term minded.
So sometimes I see people who are buying homes
Mm-hmm.
because they have their budgets. It's better to buy a smaller flat, a little smaller than what you want, but buy it from a good builder because it may be little expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But A, you are buying something which is a durable product.
Mm-hmm.
B, your maintenance is less. Your quality of living is better. You don't have to repair it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you want to resell your apartment, you will get a good resale price. But if your building is looking dilapidated in 30, 40 years, who will buy your flat? Nobody. You have to just rent it out for some small rent. Otherwise, nobody will come to move in.
Right.
But if it's a good quality construction,
Mm-hmm.
even after 30 years, 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
you will find buyers to buy in resale also. So, what you invest, how much you invest, it will give you a good peace of mind and, good product,
Right.
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 And you will not lose everything.
So, engineering wise, what makes the good building good is longevity, safety, quality of the materials used.
That's right.
Yes, that's in engineering we
That's
covered.
the engineering you
Yes.
have covered.
So, how to spot building which is like you just have to believe the developer? Is it blindly?
See, you go for good developers.
Mhm.
Now, today with internet and all, every builder has a website and all, what buildings they have done. Okay, and what reputation they have, what customer feedback they have there. Okay, so that's one way.
One okay.
Second thing is make public inquiry. Your friends, relations, talk to them. How
Private
is this builder? How
investigator.
is that builder? So someone will give you some advice there. The third thing is see the builder's completed project, and if possible, see the oldest or earliest project which he has completed, which is 20 years old, or there you will see what quality he has given. But if the quality is good, even after 20 years, building will look nice. Now you asked about this commercial building of mine where we are sitting together. I completed this building in the year 2005. It's a 20 years old
Back
building.
then.
And when you see the quality of the building, you will find this building looking better than some of the 5-year-old buildings.
True.
So when you look at a product which is 20 years old, you will realize what quality that product has. So these are all things, where a small little inquiry a buyer has to make. Only one good thing that has happened now is the Real Estate Regulation Act, which is applicable to all the developers. Under that act, developer is bound to give structural guarantee for 5 years, or a word used is warranty.
What does that come under
Now,
that warranty?
it's a structural warranty. It's a
No
structure of the building.
leakage, no something
Leakage
like
and all are not part of structure.
that. Okay.
Part of structure is your main frame of the building.
I mean, it should be more than 5.
But even a poor quality building, nothing major will go wrong in 5
5
years.
years, yeah, that's what.
You know.
At least for a decade, at
So,
least.
in a way, it's a good measure, but it really does not help you so much.
Yeah, if you stayed 5 years, then the builders just like, I mean, yeah, it's like.
And, your plumbing and all, they are not called structural guarantees. They are, the added services which you bring in, So they are not counted. Your plaster on the wall is not called structure. So even if you have cracks in your plaster, it's not considered as structure, So there won't be any warranty. Basic inquiries, if you do, you may end up with a good building, but be ready to pay a little better. Because I have seen one kind of mindset people have. They will want to buy the best for themselves when it comes to consumable products. So, like you're buying vegetables, fruits, or your shirts, or clothes and things like that, smaller things. But when it comes to buying a home, they want the cheapest. They'll say they'll bargain. They'll look which builder is giving at the lowest price, and they'll get attracted towards that builder. Possibly because it's a high value purchase. Maybe most people do not have that budget. But my advice to people would be, if you have less budget, buy a smaller flat, reduce your expectations. If good quality product is not fitting into your budget, say you are looking for a 3 bedroom, a good quality product of 3 bedroom is costing you say 75 lakhs, your budget is 50 lakhs. Now don't go and buy a 3 bedroom flat of a poor quality because just it's available at 50 lakhs. Rather than doing that, buy a good quality flat of 2 bedroom which may come in your budget, because that will enhance your quality of life much better than buying a poor quality construction product, you know, which you don't want to compromise on your 3 bedroom, but you are willing to compromise on the quality. This kind of high value purchase, if you buy a poor quality product, it gives you a lot of problems. You have to spend a lot of money on maintenance.
Right.
You are not enjoying living in that apartment because you will have leakage problems, you will have a lot of other issues, maintenance issues. All the time you have to spend more and more money, and longevity is not there. Building looks old. After 10 years, you may not want even your guests to come to your building.
Right.
Because it will be looking so bad. So keep this in mind. Good quality product comes at a little extra price. Adjust your requirement as per your budget, but don't compromise on quality. Compromise on the size of the house you are looking at.
So then comes the community living. So what in the community living makes the building good?
See, community living, again, because our society is so multicultural, multi-religion,
A subjective
multilingual.
topic.
So it becomes a subjective topic at times. So I leave that part out.
But it should have a community.
But it should have a good community where people blend.
For your social life.
Yeah.
And
So normally what I have seen is, builders who are giving good quality products, their products become a bit expensive. And people who can afford, they understand little better what's a good product. They understand what's the community living a little better. So you will find people gelling with each other, even though they are from different religion or different languages or different culture, but you will find them homogeneous in their approach, their community living. So all those differences don't matter when there's a kind of a homogeneous thought process amongst all the apartment owners. But whereas if you go and buy an apartment where everything is bought at a cheap price, then that mindset is different. People who are looking at that mindset, they will have problems with every expenditure. They will not want 1 rupee to spend more here, 1 rupee to spend more there. Why this? Why not that? Every time there will be all kind of issues.
right.
So that kind of a mindset will not help you to create a homogeneous environment. And there will be a lot of fights, petty fights,
Yeah.
petty
a lot.
disputes,
Within the apartments.
within the
right?
apartments.
Right.
And each one will be blaming the other. So all those problems come in. So my suggestion to people would be to look at good builders, to look at good locations, and see that what are the kind of people living in their earlier completed projects. Go to the building. Every building has a name plate,
Nice
name board.
filter.
Go and have a look at it. Talk to the building manager there. Every building will have a building president, secretary, or
Residential.
residential
something
thing.
Like that.
So if you like a particular builder's particular location and a building, you go and meet some earlier completed building, meet the presidents of the association there.
Vibe check.
Yeah, meet the some couple of flat owners there, talk to them. You'll get an idea of what is the kind of people this builder is attracting and whether you will fit into that society.
That's with the community living. And then individual space. What does that, what are the things come under that to make
See,
it a
in
great
individual
building?
space, what we call is a designing becomes an very important aspect because how you design your individual rooms, what comes, as you enter the house,
Light.
then the light effect, the breeze which you are getting, the air, whether you're cross ventilation, you don't have cross ventilation, stuff like that. I have seen some buildings, as you enter the main door, the first thing either to the left or right is the kitchen. In our kind of society, in our kind of lifestyle, people don't appreciate that kind of a design. Whereas you enter the main door, you have a kitchen right at the entrance, Every builder, whichever city they are building, they have to have the basic understanding, or the architects who are designing the building, they have to have the basic understanding of, the cultural values in that society, how they live, what is the preference they have, what is the level of privacy they want, whether they consider Vastu important or they don't consider Vastu important, whether they are more keen to have better light, better air, then how do you design for more light and air to come in the apartment? All those factors go into the designing of individual apartments. Believe me, a well-designed apartment sells much faster. As the minute somebody sees that design
Right.
or enters that flat,
Word spread out.
no, not only that, you feel at home. The minute you see, because that design speaks to you.
Right. Connection.
Immediately connects with you. Yes, I want something like this.
Yeah.
Because you also have a idea of a home in your mind. And it immediately connects with that idea. Second aspect of it is the products what we give to a flat owner inside the flat. Like your windows, doors, your tiling, your painting, your electrical fittings, your plumbing, all the fit outs which are there inside the apartment. Now, as per the valuation category, there will be change in these products. If the building is of a high quality, expensive product,
Materials.
then you will get products of high end specifications, or if your building is, because these products, some of them are for aesthetic purpose, say like painting. Inside painting is more an aesthetic thing. Your flooring, you can use a 30 rupees square foot flooring, you can use a 100 rupees square foot flooring. So those are for aesthetic purpose, So a good quality product, a good builder will be able to give you good aesthetic product, provided you have that budget. If you don't have that budget, you may have to compromise on some of these products. But they are reasonably having good life. It may look worn out after a few years. Yeah, but they don't affect the longevity of the building. They don't compromise your quality of living to that extent. But two things you should not compromise on. One is the electrical fittings inside your apartment. Second thing is the plumbing done inside your apartment.
Why two things?
Because this thing can cause harm to your family. Because see, finally we all live for what? For our families. Safety of our family is most important.
Right.
Now, if there's a fire because of faulty wiring or poor quality products, you're putting your family at risk. I have seen many people when they do their interior work and all that, they'll call some electrician or electrical contractor who may have experience, may not have experience, who may be a certified fellow, may not be a certified fellow. He will do whatever he wants. He will put tapes at every joint and he will go away. But that can cause fire, that can cause short circuit, if you're not using right wires. Now, what happens is for every capacity of the product you are plugging in, there's a capacity of the wire also. Now whether there is a proper communication, whether that fellow has given you the right wiring. If he has put wiring of a lower capacity, it can't carry that much power there. There can be again short circuits. So, not only when you buy a new flat, you have to be clear about it that builder has done the wiring, of safety, following the safety measures. But when you do some additional work, you should go and hire an electrical contractor who is certified by either the city corporation or the local electrical department like MESCOM or whatever, and only use them, because they will do a good quality work. Don't get a neighborhood electrician and ask him to do whatever, because that can put your life and your family's life at risk. And not only yours, if the fire happens, you are putting other people also at risk living in that building.
And what about plumbing? How it can mess up things?
Plumbing can be, if it is faulty, it can be a nightmare.
What are the worst thing you have seen in the plumbing gone wrong?
Oh, terrible things can happen.
Like toilet pipe.
I'll tell you an example of my friend. He was living in a apartment which was built by a so-called good builder
In Mangalore.
in Mangalore. And one day he called me to his apartment. Everywhere patches are happening in all the rooms. Ceiling, beams, everywhere wet patches are coming. So when I went and saw, because I have experience of this, I said there is a leakage in the upper floor, and that leakage has spread to your entire slab. From slab it's gone to the beams. From slab it's come to the walls. So everywhere now wet patches have happened. And because of Mangalore weather, fungus is happening. Because inside your house there's not so much light and all. Fungus is happening, and those dark patches are now seen everywhere. And problem is basically leakage from the upper floor somewhere. Now in one bedroom, water was dripping. He then contacted the upper floor person, and he thought leakage is from this bedroom. So there's a bathroom attached to that bedroom. It may be from that bathroom. So he called the plumbing contractor and all that. They dug up that bathroom and they found no leakage from that bathroom. Okay. Now all that money spent, all that difficulty which the upper floor flat owner had,
Sunk
cost and no outcome. Now it was a 3-bedroom flat. Upper floor also was 3 bedrooms. So 3 bathrooms were there. So then he again called me that, see, we have done that bathroom. I said, see, it's not like that. That where the water is dripping, leakage is there. Leakage can happen anywhere, and water will keep spreading. And at the weakest point, it will stop dripping. So unless and until, it's a trial and error kind of a thing. You remove this bathroom. If leakage is there, you are lucky. Otherwise, go to the next bathroom, because it's spread everywhere now. So then 2 bathrooms were left. So now it was a choice which to take. So they picked up 1 bathroom. They repaired. Unfortunately, there was no leakage there also. Finally, the 3rd bathroom when they did, there was a leakage there. Now he had to spend almost 2 lakhs. The person
just on finding the cause for
the cause. The person whose flat leakage was happening, they had also a lot of difficulties. Because when you remove 1 bathroom, to reset the bathroom and all, it takes 1 month it takes. So you imagine 3 months they have also been put to difficulty. Anyway, it was a fault in their apartment, but they were also put in those difficulties. And this fellow had to spend almost 2 lakhs of rupees to get this leakage resolved. But that was not the end of his cost, because his entire flat had gone. So he had to get the entire repainting done. That cost him another 60,000 rupees to get the entire flat. Once it dried out, entire flat he had to repaint. And fortunately, it had not eroded the quality of the the product. Otherwise, if the leakage keeps spreading, it will erode your concrete and steel also.
Right.
So he had to go through a lot of expenditure, a lot of difficulties, a lot of trouble.
So the water was from the another washroom.
Because leakage always damages not your flat, a flat below yours. Not your neighbors, a flat below yours. That is the first flat it will damage.
Right.
So if your flat is having a leakage.
So who bore the cost? I mean, I think builders should have.
Now see what happens. All these buildings are 15 years old, 20 years old. Leakages happen after a few years. So builder is completely out of the picture. He is neither accountable nor he has to do any of these things. You ask the flat owner, he will not do it.
Right.
What's your choice? You can't live with dripping water in your flat, isn't it?
Do
So
builders give guarantee like that? If anything such thing happen, I can guarantee you I would pay this thing, like, so
normally,
that.
when you buy an apartment,
Mhm.
apart from Real Estate Regulation Act warranties,
Mhm.
builders don't give any warranties.
I mean, don't you
You know,
think
even
people
even even the best
should
of
expect a
builders,
guarantee from the developers?
best of the builders don't give any warranties.
Mhm.
But what the good builders do is, within a reasonable time. So, like some builders do it for 1 year, some builders take care of it for 3 years. Very few builders may attend to problems up to 5 years.
Mhm.
Very few builders. And that is also not because there is any warranties or guarantees or documents signed or
Just
legal
because for the
obligation,
goodwill.
just for the goodwill, to have their good name and reputation in the market, they will do this service for you.
Mhm.
Otherwise, there is no such system of giving guarantees or warranties.
Mhm.
And what has happened is, if you look at any manufactured product in India, warranties are from 1 year to maximum 3 years.
Right, right.
You won't get any product with more than 3 years
But for
warranty.
real estate, I think people should expect for a decade warranty.
See, builders can give a decade warranty also, and builders can provide a product which will be lasting you without any problem for a decade, everything. But then the cost.
Right,
So,
premium.
yeah, because what happens is, you buy a good product without giving warranty, also, there may not be any problems. Maybe rarely in one bathroom or one flat, some problem may happen. Otherwise, normally it does not happen. But
Mhm.
if you want to buy something that is the cheapest in the market, then you have to expect problems and no service from the builder.
Right, right. So that is the mistake. First come,
Yeah, that's what I
most of the
said.
people
That if
do.
you have a budget,
Mhm.
if you're looking for a larger flat, it's wiser to reduce the expectation of the size of your flat,
Mhm. And buy a quality one.
buy a quality product.
Mhm.
You will be happier than
Mhm.
buying a cheaper product which suits your size requirement,
Then regret later.
then regret later.
So, what makes the building good? Aging, which is longevity, makes the people safe and comfortable, quality of the materials used, and nice community living, who doesn't give you a lot of headaches, individual spacing, which connects to people, like connects to you. So, these are the things which makes the building good. So, this drives the value of the
Yeah, now
building.
we have been concentrating more on the living aspect of the building.
Right.
Okay, there is a regulatory aspect of the building, because you can't just build the way you want. Even if you're building your own small house, there are regulatory aspects. Like your land papers should be proper. You have to, convert your land. You have to have your single site approval, your e-khata, and so and so forth. A
We
lot
will
of
come
legal
to that
formalities are
very
there.
in great detail.
Okay, so what happens is, when you're buying a flat, if your builder A has defective title of the land, then in the end you may end up suffering. B, if the builder has not built as per the license he has been given, then again in the end the buyer may end up having a lot of difficulties.
His money gets stuck.
Money
And
gets stuck, a lot of things. See, builders who are not reputed, or those who are not for too long in the business, they may be fly by night operators, they may cheat you, they may dupe you, by different kind of
scams.
malpractices, scams, and all kind of things. So, you know, when you're putting so much money, maybe your lifetime saving you're putting in buying your home, buying that apartment, you have to do a lot of due diligence.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
don't worry about paying some money to a lawyer for legal opinion, stuff like that. Do your own inquiry about the builder, his reputation, what is his background. So, like those who are investing in equity market, first thing they will think, who is the promoter, what quality he has, Same way here. You're buying an apartment, you look at the builder's reputation, you look at his background, previous buildings, whether all his buildings are as per the law, things like that. whether all his buildings have occupation certificate, things like that. Then only decide to buy. Otherwise what happens, even if you are getting a good product,
Right.
but none of these legal parameters are met with, you are in a big mess.
True.
And you forget about your quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
Your saving is gone, your peace of mind is gone,
Mm-hmm.
you are still without a home,
Right.
and all
I
kind of
see an idea
problems.
here. It's in blockchain. So how about you set up a system where all of the information, like what material was used, who was the contractors, how much labors were paid, everything, the materials used, the law, legality of it, everything is in the ledger and it's transparent and it is like approved by like peer. Like it can't be cheated. Like it doesn't have big loopholes. Like people have the information. What is lacking, as I see now, is lack of information. People don't have information, access to information for all these things, like what materials, which sand, concrete ratio, structural engineering aspects, all of these things. Do you think it would be really useful, like for the industry to
See,
have such a
the
system,
good
blockchain?
builders put a lot of information available for the buyers. Sometimes they don't put certain information because if it's a too open a system, the competitors may pick up data from there. And
Even that is a trade secret.
there's
How
a
you use concrete is a
yeah,
trade
yeah.
secret.
So what happens is they may pick up from there, which you don't want them to get the advantage of. So there are certain things which you can put
Cannot reveal.
on the web, certain things you don't want to reveal. Say like now, if I am buying concrete from X company, and I am very happy with the quality of that product,
So you as a builder don't want other builders to know which supplier you are getting the supply
getting
from.
this thing, and if more and more product, more and more people go and buy from that particular company, what happens is supply becomes a problem. Pricing may go up. So
That is the
I am
logic.
creating problem for
Right,
myself.
right.
So certain things builders are disclosing. Certain things Real Estate Regulation Act makes builder disclose. So those,
Like,
a lot of things, your plans, your approvals, your legal status of land, and all those are available on RERA website. So and every builder who is developing more than 8 apartments, they have to take real estate regulation registration. But there are fly by night operators who are putting up buildings without following
regulation.
any law. Landowner, the apartment buyer does not understand or has no information. He will not even ask that question. That is your project
Approved by regulators.
approved by regulators. What is the number? Where can I see
Right.
all the data? Which
Buyers
website
don't have knowledge and also patience to
patience
that.
to
This is the language is not simple. All
So like
jargons and
I
very
have dealt
complicated
with
language.
so many buyers. I feel very happy when I get an informed buyer. That at least we are able to tell that buyer what kind of product we are giving. But most customers, they don't ask any question.
Have no idea.
They have no idea. They don't want to ask. They don't even go and talk to others. And their main focus is whether the design is as per their liking. That's one focus part. B, whether the area where the building is to their liking. C, whether the rate is to their budget. Beyond that, they are not, I have hundreds of buyers who have not even asked a single question about the quality. They'll keep bargaining for another 50,000 less, another 50,000 less, but
Nobody on the quality.
nobody on the quality. So what happens is the buyer, the more and more aware he is, the more and more quality product he will get.
And even builders have the pressure to deliver.
But at the same time, when builders start giving better and better quality, everything comes at a cost. Cost will also have, it will move up to give more and more, good products. But customers should be willing to pay that cost.
Right.
That's where the catch is. So somewhere all builders draw a balance in quality product and in terms of pricing. So what is a good quality for our environment, a good longevity for the product, a good happy living kind of a situation, builder will give that because that comes at a particular price. But engineering is so advanced, I can make that quality even 5x than what I am doing. But then the cost will also go 5x, which people
Right.
can't afford. So we built as per the
Market
earnings
is,
and the
yeah,
market. And all
right.
that.
What maintenance pitfalls do you see most often, and how can a homeowner or investor spot them early?
Always ask a builder what will be the expected maintenance cost of the building once owners occupy it. Because you may be able to raise a housing loan and buy an apartment, but maintenance is a monthly expenditure which has to come from your monthly earning. So if it is too high, you will not be able to afford that, or you may find it difficult to pay that. You are able to afford to buy the house, but you are not able to afford the maintenance of that house.
So the good building means low maintenance, not very
I
high
I
maintenance.
won't say that. Good building means low maintenance. I would say
Reasonable maintenance.
building with more facilities will have more maintenance cost. Building with more equipment. So like now buildings have become like factories. The equipments that is required statutorily to be given and that we give voluntarily also to enhance the joy of living, they all require maintenance. I'll give a simple example. Say like when there's a power cut, I need not give you a generator. I can tell each flat owner, buy an inverter in your house or a battery in your house, 2 kVA battery, so that your lights, fans, computers, TV and all that work. But if I provide you a generator, now generator will call for maintenance, it will call for cost, it will call for diesel cost and all those costs. Your maintenance goes up, but you have a enhanced standard of living because there's a generator. You don't have to worry about power failing because automatically power will come back. You want high speed lifts, good quality lifts. Now these lifts also come at a maintenance, high cost. So if you're going in a high rise building,
High speed lifts.
there will be high speed lifts, there will be multiple lifts, there will be maybe 3 lifts, maybe 4 lifts, more maintenance. If you go in a low height building, say like 3 floors or 4 floors, builder may give you 1 lift because any people can climb 4 floors also, no? It is only for senior citizens who may need the lift. 1 lift is there, low speed lift, low passenger capacity lift, low maintenance. So don't get carried away with the aspirational aspect of living. Like you want a swimming pool. Swimming pool does not come at a low cost. Builder will build and give you a pool. Then owners have to maintain it, no? And now the new regulation makes you mandatory to keep a lifeguard also for the pool because couple of accidents happened where some children drowned in the pool. Because you can't keep a watchman sitting there, no? Or a lifeguard sitting there. So now it's a mandatory under the law that if you give a swimming pool, you have to have a lifeguard. And lifeguard will not come for less than 20,000 a month. Flat owners have to pay his salary, maintenance cost, all those things. So the more and more facilities you have, the more and more amenities you have, the more and more will be your monthly outflow.
Yes, and you were saying why they need to ask for the maintenance cost?
Because you should know whether it is within your reach or not.
Correct. People make mistakes there, is it?
Yeah, because what happens is, see, for a 2-bedroom flat, if I am charging 5,000 rupees maintenance, okay, and some other builder who was not given much facilities is charging 1,500 rupees maintenance. Now you have not asked the builder, you have bought a flat because you are getting housing loan and all that. You have purchased a flat, you have not asked for maintenance. Now you have moved into the apartment. Now per month 5,000 is the maintenance. You find it difficult, but every month you have to pay that. See
Always
that,
ask for the maintenance cost.
don't get carried away with the aspirational aspect of an apartment. You should know what you need, what you can afford, and only go for that. And choose a good builder who is having those options.
So, what design feature most directly affect comfort and safety, and where do people often cut corners that they later regret?
See,
Yeah, you have
we have
mentioned
explained all these
all of these
issues,
things, but is there anything left there apart from plumbing and electricity?
say like how you give your doors quality, because most buildings, the problem is that door frames will start bending because it's a poor quality wood used, or the door will have those what you call those worms and other things forming, pest coming inside your wood,
Right, big problem.
and those doors will powder will form in that. So see that the quality of the doors are good. Ask the builder, what doors are you using, what wood is it being used, if it's a manufactured door, what is the quality, is it treated for all this pestis, pest, different kind
Certification.
of pest and all that, what is the life of these doors and windows. As a builder, are you giving me any warranty for 5 years at least, or 10 years, that there will be no pest, or frames won't bend or whatever. Second aspect is windows. In Mangalore, windows are very important because of the heavy monsoon and heavy winds. There are a lot of leakages and other problems coming through the windows inside your apartment. So, what windows the builder has used, whether the rainwater will come in, whether you are protected from it, all those are very important aspect of life. So you have to check those. Then tiles, whether the tiles are of good quality. Because now you get tiles which are, some are so cheap in valuation. You will see nice print on the tiles when it is new. Within 1 year, you will see wherever you are walking, the print has disappeared. Now you imagine in your house, that gives a very,
True.
dirty look, like you don't like those tiles then thereafter, wherever you're walking, there the print has gone. Now, what is the choice left with you? Either live with it or change the entire apartment tiles. See, the change cost is very high. You want to change the tiles of even a 2-bedroom flat, it will cost you 1 lakh rupees. But if you pay even 25,000 more to the builder, he'll give you good quality tiles to begin with only, so that you don't have to worry about your tiles for the next 15, 20 years at least, or even more. So these are the aspects where you have to be very careful.
Materials.
Ask what company tiles have you used, whether this print is durable or not, what kind of product it is. Customers normally don't get into this things.
So now we have covered the basics. Now let's zoom out for a second. Let's consider real estate as a movie. There are many characters: buyers, builders, developers, and architects, and government. So I want to explore what each character in the movie looks at real estate as, like how buyer looks at real estate as, how builder looks at the real estate. I want to see the everybody's perspective in this. Let's start from the buyer.
See, like you gave an comparison analogy with a movie.
Okay, who is the villain here?
So most movies will have a villain.
Right.
So it depends on how you look at things. The government authorities, if they do their job correctly, they can be heroes. But if they don't do their job properly, and for little money here and there, if they give
Yeah.
approvals, permissions,
Big problem in India.
then you know who the villain is in the movie.
Joint villains, not single villains.
Okay, so each character in the real estate industry, can be a hero and a villain.
Right.
So it depends on how you are identifying them, whether you have the capability of identifying them. Especially builder, if a good quality builder, he gives you a good home, good infrastructure,
He's a
good
hero.
facility, is a hero for you. But at the same time, like for my personal business, the parameter I follow,
Right.
do I get invitation for my 20-year-old client for his son's wedding or daughter's wedding?
Indirect measures.
20 years later, he is coming and giving me a wedding invitation. That means he is happy with my apartment even after 20 years.
That's a great compliment.
Otherwise, he won't come and give. Otherwise, customer always has high expectations, and they feel builders have not delivered what they had expected, and they don't have kind words to say about builders. But when you see your old customers inviting you for their functions, or sometimes they bring their children to buy apartments from you. Now you imagine their children have grown up, they have their own families. Now they want independent house. The father remembers that I bought from this builder this house. It was good quality. My son also should buy from the same builder. And that happens after how many years? Maybe 15, 20 years later.
Long term.
Long term. So that's a reward for your good work. That a customer after so many years, he is bringing next generation to buy their apartment from you. Otherwise, if you hear customers only, totally dissatisfied.
That's the thing about real estate, right? You get to know if customers are satisfied only after a decade.
Then you can be a villain there as a builder. Okay. All other, what you call, so-called domain experts like architects, structural engineers, civil engineers, they are doing their job. Sometimes they have limitations, because if builder says, I want this to be done, he will provide that quality, he will provide that kind of
supporting role.
So they are supporting role. So if you see in a movie, actor or a hero also has some supporting roles, villain also has some supporting fellows. Right. So now
it depends.
It depends as a builder what you are. If you are a good builder, all the supporting role people, they will be like supporting the hero. They will do their job correctly. But if a builder himself is acting like a villain, then all these people will become supporting role for the villain. So in this business, everyone is good, provided as a builder you are good. If as a builder you don't want to give good quality work, or you have not good intentions, you want to cheat people, then you will find people who will do that kind of work for you.
Now let's come to buyer. So let's see how buyer views real estate. So when people hunt for home, what's the biggest thing people care about?
So first let us understand why someone wants to buy a home or a
most fundamental
apartment.
thing.
Most fundamental thing. He looks at that house as a need, like he needs his
Shelter.
own home. Okay, he may be staying in a rented flat. No, he wants to move into his
upgrade his lifestyle.
Owned house. So that is one need-based requirement to buy. Second, he may want to buy as an investment, because real estate is again a product.
Right.
So you will get investors also who will look at the product as an investment option. He will buy an apartment. He will give it on rent, and when he gets the right appreciation, he may sell it off also. So he earns profit out of it. So whether he is coming to buy as a home or is coming to buy as a investment. So the
two types of
buyers you have. Okay. Now when he approaches the builder, because the needs are different.
Right.
When you're buying for your own home, you will see A, location. B, you will see the builder, what quality, all that we have discussed, reputation and all that. See what facilities are there, whether community living will be homogeneous or whatever. Okay. And whether he will be happy in that particular apartment, in that particular space and all that. Okay. So
personal connection.
He looks at that. And if he has budget, he doesn't mind paying a little more, because he's getting so many facilities, services, good product and all that. Okay. Good location as well, because good location will be always more expensive. See, a builder has to buy land. So if his land is in a good location, land will be more expensive.
Right.
If land is far away, it will be coming at a lower cost. So the apartment will also come at a lower cost. But when you are an investor, you want to
approach is different.
You want to maximize your profit.
What are the ways to maximize the profit?
Okay, so what he investor does, he will buy when the project is launched, because that's the time when you get the lowest price. Whereas as a home buyer, you have a choice to buy when a project is launched, but you may not want to take that risk.
Right. You want a finished home.
You want a finished home, so you want a building which is nearing completion, or where 65 to 75% work is already completed. So you have more assurance that this building will happen.
This
you
builder
know.
won't scam me.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. So you look at all those aspects. Whereas when your investment, higher the risk you take, higher the returns.
right. So investor invest the money early in the building,
He will invest early in the building so that
even
he,
before the stone is laid.
yeah, so he gets at a very competitive pricing.
Mm-hmm.
And builder is also happy to give him at that price, but he need not invest his money.
Mm-hmm. He gets the
He
liquidity
gets a liquidity. He
to
can
build the
use the
project.
investors' money or the buyer's money
Mm-hmm.
to complete his building also. So he is also saving on cost.
Win-win for them.
So win-win for both of them. Okay. Second thing a builder investor will look at it is whether this particular product will give me a good rent or a good resale price. Whether it's in that location, developing location. But normally investment happens more in an upcoming areas. Nobody will want to be an investor in
On
an
a
already developed, very expensive area. But their returns may be very less because their actual
saturated
users go.
returns. Yeah.
In a very developed area, you will find more actual users because they have all the conveniences of day-to-day living in a very developed area. But investor will go to an upcoming area because the value appreciation is higher. Today what is upcoming, a couple of years down the line will become a developed area.
Right.
Appreciation is there. So the approach is completely different based
A lot
on
of calculation is needed.
what is the reason you are buying this apartment. And then sometimes you look at based on your family members also. See, I have seen people who have senior citizens living with them, like a joint family, your parents health is not very great because of age related issues. You will prefer to buy a flat on the lower floors, first, second floor, so that for them also it's convenient, and very easy to take them to hospitals or things, because you don't have to wait for lifts or things like that, Whereas young people would prefer to go little higher floors so that, they feel that there's good light, air and view and all that.
Right.
Depending on your own personal need, you may choose which floor or which side of the building you want to be. So I have noticed people who have, uh, parents above the age of 70 normally don't go to higher floors. But young people who are buying as a nuclear family, they prefer higher floors. Higher the better for them. So that's why in Mangalore you will see now apartment buildings coming up of 30 floors, 35 floors, 40 floors. As for the younger generation, for the new age generation, they prefer going, on upper floors so that they feel that they are breathing fresher air, they get more light, they can enjoy the view and things like that.
So these are the factors:
Yeah.
location, family size, and based on the approach as an investor or a home buyer.
Yeah, even I have noticed NRIs prefer more road facing flats.
Why so?
What happens is many NRIs are not lucky enough to take their family abroad. So the earning member is an NRI, rest of the family is living locally. Now roadside means what happens is when the mindset is if it's on the roadside and the lady is staying alone with the children in the house, for her also it's convenient and better that she has some life to see outside a balcony where you see the road, you see people moving around, traffic moving around, you feel safer also when you see people, and it occupies your mind, or you are doing some work. Instead of doing that work in the kitchen or in the room, you sit in a balcony and do the work. So you are seeing something outside as well as you are doing that work, so you feel life around you. But anyway, you're missing the main person in your life, and that's your spouse. Now,
So you get occupied
you
with
get
the external
occupied,
environment.
and you see
Interesting
people around,
observation.
you hear sounds around, you hear people talking around,
Right.
So
Nice.
I have noticed that the NRIs who have the family left behind, they prefer road facing flats.
Interesting observation.
And those who are young people, or even if they have senior citizens, but they're local people, they feel road facing flat is a kind of a nuisance. Like, too much of light coming from outside, too much of noise coming from
Yeah.
outside. So they prefer the other side of the building, which is away from the road, where they can enjoy that peace and,
Both have
no.
the same rate. The price wise, is it
No, we do
huge
we do
fluctuation?
a small differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
So like
On which road facing?
road
or-
facing will be little higher
Oh, is it?
because it's more in demand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and on the upper floors, if you have good sea view, people prefer that. The young people, they
So
want a
more
good.
pricing there.
So there is little pricing extra there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put
Like
it in this way.
10% difference? Not
Very
much.
minor difference.
Okay.
Because in Mangalore we can't have such a price difference. It will be anywhere between 50 rupees to 100 rupees a square foot difference. That's all. Very, very minor. But in Bangalore, there is a slightly more difference, Then Vastu also brings in a little higher price, so like again 50 rupees per square foot more. If a flat is very good as per Vastu, because in an apartment building, what happens is every flat is a mirror image of the neighboring flat.
Can you repeat?
Every flat would be almost like a mirror image of the neighboring flat.
Correct,
Mirror image
correct,
means
correct.
opposite.
Yeah.
What is right here, it will be left in this flat. So if this is perfect as per Vastu, this won't be good as per Vastu or as perfect as you want
okay.
to. Okay. So what happens? If I price this and this flat at the same price, everyone will buy the good Vastu flat.
Right.
No one will come for the not so good Vastu flat. So what we do? We make the Vastu flat a little more expensive and non-Vastu flat a little cheaper. Now there's a huge group of people who do not believe in Vastu, especially people who are educated or who are in profession or even people
People
from
who hate-
different faith, So like
Right.
Vastu is considered as,
Pseudoscience.
pseudoscience, but part of the Hindu way of life, because it's governing the way of Hindu philosophy, So you will find, customers from other faith, they may not believe in Vastu. So they don't mind this flat or that flat. They are very happy I'm getting that cheaper.
Right.
So these are the small differentiation builders do in different projects.
Buyers look at before buying.
Buyers look at buying. And even for floor rise, as you keep moving upper and upper floors, there is something called a floor rise cost.
Okay.
So what happens is the higher the building it is, for the builder also it is costing more and more money. Because he has to shift all the material to the next floor, then again to the next floor, to the next floor. So he is spending more on labor also. As he keeps moving up, all his material also has to keep moving up. All his workforce also has to keep moving up.
Okay. The cost to construct one floor isn't the same for
No,
all.
no. So as you go higher, one is a direct cost of shifting things up.
Right.
Second is the engineering cost. The engineering becomes more and more complex as the height of the building keeps increasing. The fire safety norms, the fire safety equipments what we have to provide is more and more rigorous and more expensive as you go higher and higher. Same way, your plumbing costs, your electricity costs, everything goes little in geometric proportion as you keep moving higher. So we collect that cost
Through increasing the
Yeah.
price of the
So why should a first floor or a second floor or a third floor
pay the same as the
pay
top
the
floor?
same as they say someone living on the 30th floor?
How much would be the difference in percentage wise? It depends on the location again.
Depends on the location and the height of the building. Yeah, but it can vary significantly because now the buildings are becoming taller and taller. See, if it was 10-floor building, it would hardly matter maybe between the first floor and the 10th floor, maybe 100, 150 rupees per square foot difference would be there. But now you're not talking about 10th floor, you're talking about 30 floors, 40 floors. So that difference can be even as high as 500 rupees a square foot.
Like
Between the first floor and the top floor
difference is 500 rupees
per
per
square foot. Because,
okay.
you're adding 40 levels.
Right,
You have to shift things that much
Is
higher.
it safe to say 50% more?
No. Because cost of construction is pretty high.
Okay.
So it still forms a substantial value. So like if you're buying a 1,000 square feet apartment, and if the cost gap is 500 rupees, you're paying 5 lakhs more. Size of the apartment is the same. Specification of each apartment is the same. But you're paying 5 lakhs more just to go on that floor, the higher floor.
Right.
So you should be able to afford to pay that price.
What's the one hidden cost or surprise that most first-time buyers miss?
See, I would say
Maintenance cost, as you said. They miss.
but the most hidden cost is a lack of your awareness. If you're not an aware buyer, you may end up buying a wrong product, which may cost you very seriously. B, you may pay a higher price also. Why I would say higher prices? Because there are so many products, so many buildings coming up in different locations. You go and see at least 5 apartment projects or 5 different builders. Do analysis. Where you are getting a better product at a little reasonable price. You may be surprised, you may end up saving money. Because each builder's cost parameters are different. And his final pricing is dependent on his own cost parameters. So what happens is, I have seen, because of paucity of time or awareness issue or lack of knowledge, people don't do that exercise. But if you do that exercise, you may be surprised, you may end up saving a few lakhs.
So you mean people don't go and see multiple, they just go with the one?
See, the way a customer goes to a builder, either he has seen an ad, he likes the ad. Okay, he goes to that builder, he brings his family, they see all the flat, they all like it. And then everyone
makes a decision on
everyone gets emotionally connected to that
space.
I like the building, I like the location, I like the look of it. I don't want to see anything else. I want to buy this.
So buyer makes that mistake.
Buyer may make that mistake. So don't get emotionally attached to the first building you see. So like you say, no, don't marry the first girl you see.
Very true.
So don't buy the first apartment complex you see. Do your homework. You may
be
come
rational.
back you may come back to that, finding it the most suitable for you. But do your homework. See more things. Understand the cost parameters, the quality issues, pricing. You may get a better deal.
Okay, that's one. And when you said aware buyer, like what makes a buyer more aware about these things?
Buying a house is not a small investment. I have seen people debating so much about quality of fish or quality of fruits or vegetables they buy. How much thought process goes in, and they will be debating on this quality for hours on end. But when it comes to the house, their own house, they don't want to be aware of different aspects. Their focus gets converted to only pricing. Whether I am getting the lowest possible price. That's not the right approach. See,
that's the mentality of the buyer.
Government does the same mistake. There is something called tender bidding. Who gets the tender? The one who gives the lowest quotation. Okay.
That's how we have so many potholes.
That's
on
why
the road.
We have so many problems. So the one who gives at lowest may not give you the best.
Right. I think we need to change the system on that.
So when you're putting in your own money, don't be fixated on one aspect, that is the price. Look at overall things. As I have said earlier also, if you're getting a good quality product, but you may have to compromise a little on the size of your apartment, do that.
Yeah, that's on the buyer. That makes an aware buyer. So let's come to from the builders and developers perspective on real estate. So we explored buyers. Now let's get into builders. Okay, it's 9:30.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah, still I think let's finish this topic.
Yeah.
Then we can continue 3 parts tomorrow or day after.
Okay.
Fine. Huh?
Tomorrow is Thursday, no? Thursday.
No, Wednesday.
Yeah,
tomorrow is fine, no? Tomorrow we'll finish entirely.
Yeah.
We'll finish this section.
Yeah.
Take as long as you want. Okay. Now let's get into builders and developers. So let's see how they view real estate as. So what should be the top priority of the developers and builders when choosing the plot?
See, when developers look at a plot, they look at it more from a commercial viewpoint. Whether this property is well located, whether it has a proper title, whether all the civic infrastructure is around it, like your water connection, UGD connection, stormwater connection, power connection, so on and so forth. Whether this, social infrastructure is around it, like your markets, schools, colleges, hospitals, those kind of things. Or whether you're looking at the value of the land, the location of the land will determine the type of project you do it. So like, I won't buy a very expensive land and do a mid-income project because it doesn't work that way.
Right.
If I have to do mid-income project, I will go little on the outskirts. I will buy, because on the outskirts land will be little cheaper. I will do mid-income projects there. If I want to do affordable project, I will even go further away from the city where land is absolutely cheap, where
Right.
your social infrastructure, civic infrastructure may not be up to the mark, but then that's the only way you can give the product at that price. So builder will look at all these aspects, the legality of the title, the location, the pricing, the type of project he can do, the marketability, so everything has to be synchronized.
Okay.
Anything goes wrong here and there, his
gets stuck.
his project may be stuck.
What is the legality in the land?
See, a lot of title disputes are there, and in our country,
Like, what do you mean by title disputes?
see,
Never heard about that term.
in our country, government does not guarantee the title of the owner. You feel
Okay.
you are buying land, and because you have paid stamp duty, you have clear title. No,
Oh,
you know,
that doesn't make you an owner.
no, it may not
100% guarantee.
100% guarantee that you will be a peaceful and 100% owner. There can be disputes.
Okay.
That's one aspect. Second aspect is there is no title guarantee. They wanted to start with title insurance. That when you are buying a land, you pay some amount as an insurance amount, and the insurance company will guarantee you the title.
Wow.
In terms, if there's a dispute,
Between you and the government.
they'll reimburse the
Wow.
amount you've invested. But that's also not worked out so
Title
efficiently,
insurance.
So the most important aspect a builder, focuses on is the clearance of title. If it's not 100% clear, you should not get into that property. You should not think, oh, I will sort it out later.
Right.
Like some builders get into this, like they feel we have muscle power, manpower, political power. We'll sort out everything. But everything can't be sorted out like that. Sometimes you can
Times
get
change.
into, big difficulty. And
So what happens in title dispute? Like, you mean government can claim that land, is it? Or
no, see,
where the
title
dispute?
dispute may not be from the government per se, but it may be from the person whom you are buying the land. He may not be having 100% title,
Oh, okay.
and there are a lot of legalities.
Hat is passed on.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so you may be ending up with a defective title. There may be some more claimants to that land, and
Past owners,
past
cousins.
owners. Sometimes, like there are rules and regulations. If the rules and regulations are not followed, and if you're buying that property, like, what we use in the government word is called kharab land. If you try to build on kharab land, your kharab means it's a defective title,
Right.
or it's a defective procedure which has been done where you can't develop. Title may be clear, but the procedure not followed, rules regulations not followed, so it's become a kharab land. And if you put up a development project on kharab land, even the buyers of apartment will not get clear.
Do you see builders making that mistake quite often here?
Mangalore not so much, but Bangalore it is very rampant.
Bangalore.
Yeah, because
even
kharab
encroaching
land,
the lake bed and those
kharab
things.
land you will get at lower price. So some builders do that because they are there. So a builder has to do his due diligence on land.
So this is also part of the aware buyer is
Yeah.
they have to see whether the title duties of the land
it's
is
very,
intact.
very, very important. Okay. Nowadays, the the violation of rules and regulations are little, much less now compared to earlier, but still some builders do it. So see to it that building is done as per the approvals.
Land titles
So that is another aspect
of legality.
legality. Sometimes builders do shortcuts.
Like
Like they will say, oh, I will put one extra floor, or I will do something here and there, or the open space he has to leave, he'll leave a little less open space, things like that.
So is there a rule from the government that
Every aspect of development is controlled by rules and regulation.
Okay.
So a builder has to follow those rules and regulations, because if it does not follow, even his building can be demolished. Lot of Supreme Court orders are there now.
Right.
They
To demolish buildings.
demolish buildings because they are not built as per rules and regulations. What we call illegal construction.
Right.
You
So what happens to the buyer who ended up buying this land? Does that fall under buyer's responsibility?
Then what happens is, buyer has to file a case against the builder to recover his money. And
that would be in the law system later.
And the builder is anyway, almost bankrupt because his building is demolished. Where will have money to pay you?
Right.
So buyer may not get that money back. So it's up to the builder to see how much he is compliant, his development is compliant with the rules and regulations.
So when you meant open space, like what are the regulations in the open space?
No, there are different norms for different size of plots, different height of
location
buildings, So we have to follow those norms. There is no shortcut to it. You can't take system for granted. But a lot of illegal buildings are there especially.
So builder should have a lawyer with them every time on this.
Full team of experts and all we have to work with, and you have to follow the rules and regulations. There's no shortcut to it.
And how about zoning rules?
These are again rules and developments. It depends with, every development authority. Like you can't build a commercial building in a residential zone.
That depends on the municipality, right?
Yeah, you can't build a high rise on a road which does not permit you high rise.
Right. Road width
and all those norms are there. If you look at Bangalore and Mangalore, I would say Mangalore is a very, very law compliant society. Compared to Bangalore. And bigger city, what happens is the government officials cannot look at everything, cannot inspect every building. Well, so much of development is happening. How many places can officers go and can inspect and regular inspection? Whereas in a city like Mangalore, it's much easy to see, inspect. Society is more aware.
Right.
People are more aware. Builders are also keen on following rules and regulations. So you won't find too many builders doing that. And what happens is a buyer should always look at a builder who is a member of, the what you call either the, we have a association
CREDAI.
called CREDAI. So if he's a member of CREDAI, then, you have credibility of that builder, because you won't become a member of CREDAI unless and until you are following rules and regulations.
So CREDAI tag itself is the
CREDAI
indicator.
tag is, again, it gives you that assurance
that they follow the rules and regulations.
It doesn't mean that a CREDAI member cannot turn rogue. He can turn rogue. Right. And what situations make him turn rogue, we don't know. Maybe financial distress, maybe, all kind of other complications, and he wants to just make a quick buck and come out of some situation, or he gets too confident or overconfident that I will miscalculate. So, but those cases are very few.
But it's CREDAI's responsibility to make sure.
See, what CREDAI does is CREDAI does not take any guarantees or assurances. It does not give any assurances, but the chances of you getting duped by a builder is less.
Very less.
Okay. But, like even in amongst educated family, you may find one member of the family turning rogue.
Yeah.
Even though he has got
There's no perfect thing.
There's no perfect world. So there are no perfect builders also. But if you have a grievance against a builder, CREDAI can help you out as a customer to redress that grievance. Because that's the fastest and the shortest way.
So buyer can go to CREDAI and raise the
Raise the
legality
legality, the
aspects.
grievance issues,
Nice.
and that can be resolved because there's a peer group pressure on the builder from CREDAI. And he is bound by the charter of CREDAI to sort out the grievances of his customers. But if that builder is hair bent on not helping you out or not resolving your issues, then CREDAI can, even cancel his membership from CREDAI. That okay, you are not following the charter, you are not admitting to the lapses, you are not compensating your customer, or you are not helping him out. So we can issue a notice, show cause notice to him and cancel his membership. And we can publish in the newspaper also that so and so builder will not be a CREDAI member henceforth. We have to follow the due process. It's still a better deal for a buyer to go and deal with a CREDAI builder than to deal with a builder who is not a member of CREDAI.
So that's land is very complicated thing.
Very complicated thing,
So you need a full team of lawyers.
So like I will tell you, if I have to buy one land in Mangalore, I will be seeing, maybe one land out of 4 land will fail on legality.
Can you repeat? If you had to buy one land out.
So when I do, I will see 4 or 5 lands. No? So every, out of 4 properties I see, one will have legal problems.
25%.
In Bangalore, it is other way around. Maybe out of every 10 land you see, 9 will fail. 1 will have proper legal title.
And even for that, land price would be so high, right?
So what happens is, in Bangalore, there's a massive problem of, legalities. And valuation is so high, everyone is trying to get their pound of flesh on that same property, The family, connected family, buyers, all kind of neighbors. Everybody wants to exploit the situation to benefit. So there are many, many disputes in Bangalore. Mangalore is still much better, much, much better.
Because we haven't seen the explosion of people here. Yeah. So what about zoning rules? Like why zoning rules exist?
See, zoning rules is for a orderly development of any
urban planning.
Urban planning. Okay. So rules are made for, first thing is that. Second thing is development as per the requirement of that area. So that some areas are residential. You don't want commercial things to happen. Some areas are industrial. You don't want residential to happen there and things like that. So there are categories of those zones. Then there are rules and regulations. You don't want on a narrow road some huge building coming up, because that road may not be able to
support
take
the
support
ambulances,
whatever the other, all the traffic or water or storm water or underground drainage or any such services may be difficult. So you have to have proper development based on the infrastructure available. I am going in very broad manner.
Yes, for the balanced development.
Then as per the size of the project, height of the building, you need safety measures. So those things are taken care of. Then you need, it's not only that you should have compound to compound buildings, because finally zoning regulation is what? That people should get some quality of life in that building. So open air, little light around. So you have to leave some open spaces. You can only develop this much extent of your land to put up your building. Say like if you're going to put up a high-rise building, they don't allow you to use more than 50% of the land for the structure. Balance 50% should be open.
Okay. Not 100% on the structure.
Whereas if you're putting a small house, you can develop even up to 75%.
Right.
Because then for that one house, you don't need so much open space.
So open space is for the welfare, like good quality of life.
Quality of life.
So,
and all those other issues. So zoning regulation looks into this. Then how much you can build. So like in the same plot, one builder is putting up 100 apartments and a similar size plot, another building is only putting 20 apartments. So
this
you can't
is expensive, right? 20.
You can't have it that way. So the law will make you both plots on the same road, same parameters, both will be able to build only 20 apartments as per the law.
That can change, is it? Like
See, time
how
to time,
much?
zoning regulation is changed, but everyone has the same benefit or same constraints or same rules to follow. It is not that one
Would be
gets
asymmetrically
yeah,
advantage or
yeah.
something like that.
Because if there are no rules, then people may do what they want.
True. And there's a tension between speed to market against ensuring quality and safety, which we stressed upon it a lot. So, any advice for the builders on how to balance it? How to get to speed to the market and also not compromising on the quality?
See, I don't think I'll give any advice to the builders because they are market people. Their motto is to maximize their profits.
Profit, yeah. Squeeze the lemon out.
Okay. So, no, you can make money both ways. If you're a good quality builder, you can do more projects. So, maybe your profits may be little less on per square foot, but because you're doing too many projects, overall profit may be better for you. Or you may have builders who wants to do only one project and close his business thereafter, make the maximum out of it. You may get some builders of that variety also. Some may be fly-by-night operators. My advice will be only to the customers.
What do they do? The third one, what's the term for it?
Fly-by-night operators.
Okay,
Fly-by-night operators will be what? They will never put up a building. They'll
Just on
collect-
papers.
Everything is on. They'll collect your money. One day their office will be closed. Nobody will be there. Their money, they just disappear taking your money.
Can you give me one incident, like major incident that happened like that?
See, in a smaller
Very
city,
interesting.
smaller city is difficult because people know each other. But in a big city like metros,
Bangalore.
Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, it happens regularly. There are people who come up with schemes, big advertisements. People get carried away with that advertisement.
Like what how do they look like?
They'll show you some grand pictures like good facilities, good this. Second thing is always the catch is price is unbelievably low. You get attracted by that price. Oh, I can get so much in my budget, like very, very attractive pricing. Nobody can give you a good thing at such a low price. There are no free lunches.
Yeah, too good to be true.
Too good to be true. So if you are getting an offer like that, you should know there's a catch somewhere. You should be very, very beware of such kind of offers. Say like you will get advertisements, no? Like you invest with us, your money will be doubled in 1 year. Now, it's not easy to double your money in 1 year. If anyone is advertising like that, as a investor, you should be careful that you should not fall prey to that kind of advertisement.
So people end up buying virtual flats, which is like
It never happens. That fellow collects money and disappears. And then in a big city, it's very difficult to identify because nobody knows the person. In a small city, it is still little less.
Don't they give loan or do they give all in cash? Like, do they take loan from the bank and give to this?
See, whatever money they get, cash, check, everything, one day they will close the business. Office is in rented place.
Right.
Employees are fired. Next day, office is locked. You don't know whom you have met there. Because owners will never meet the customers. See, the first thing of a fly-by-night operator is there's a wall between the people who are running the business and the people who are buying that product. You will never be able to meet the person who is running the business because they will never reveal their identity. So what happens is with this kind of people, you don't even know who the owner is because you have met some employees in that office, you have paid money to some bank account, and or you have paid some cash also, and you just don't know who the person is. You have never met him. They don't meet anybody because their intentions are very clear. They are doing that only to cheat people.
Right.
So
such people also exist, like such builders.
They exist. And one has to be very careful, especially buyers. If you find an offer too good to be true, do realize there's a catch.
And also, I saw the poster when I was entering this building. So you have new project coming up, and then that said approved by all banks What does that mean? Approved by all banks.
See, what happens is most people buy their homes
Mm-hmm.
taking housing loans because nobody will have 50
Right,
lakhs,
right.
75 lakhs, or whatever
Cash.
is the price, savings in the bank account, and you use all your money to buy a home.
Mm-hmm.
So people would take a housing loan and they will pay their EMIs or the installments to the bank over a period of 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. Banks can even give up to 30 years if you are too young.
Mm-hmm.
Like they take up to 60 years for salaried class. So if you are buying your first house at the age of 30,
Mm-hmm.
bank can give you 30 years loan. So two things happen when we get the projects approved by the banks.
Mm-hmm.
Approved means is legally approved. So if I'm getting my project approved from say 5-6 big banks, means my project has got legally approved for all the parameters, title, rules and regulations, various procedures followed. Due diligence by the legal team of that bank has done it.
Mm-hmm.
And after doing that, after satisfying that, they are giving that project the legal approval.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you are doing that same process with multiple banks because customer may prefer one bank, some other customer may go to other
Right.
bank.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we have legal approval, it's easier for customer to take a loan from the bank they are familiar with. Okay, but your project has gone the same legal due diligence now with multiple banks.
Right.
So it definitely gives a confidence
To
to
the
the
builder.
customer
Right. Right.
that this particular project has gone through due diligence, legal due diligence with so many banks, legal team, that they did not worry so much about the title or whether the project is as per law or
Right,
not.
right. Because I haven't seen other builders using that in the advertisement, like approved by all other banks.
See, all recognized builders
Mm-hmm.
get approval from maybe 2 or 3 banks. Me particularly as a builder, I get approvals from minimum 8 to 10 banks.
Nice.
You
So
know,
that is how you operate on the
so
real
what
estate.
happens is, it's a good confidence booster for the buyer that so much of legal due diligence has gone through. B, say you are banking with Union Bank. You know the managers and all that because you are running accounts there. You want to take a housing loan from Union Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have not got my project approved by Union Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens is, you as a buyer will have to ask Union Bank to get the project legally approved. Now, Union Bank will tell you, you will have to pay fees for getting the
Legal
project approved.
procedures. Mm-hmm.
So, for a customer,
Extra work.
he has to pay money to the bank. Bank will get the legal due diligence done. Bank will contact the builder. Builder will give title papers and all that. Legal due diligence will happen. Customer will be asked to pay some processing fee for that. B, there's a delay. Now, legal due diligence may happen in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It may even take a month. Till such time loan is not approved. Till such time, he is stuck. He is not able to buy or, he is not able to pay the builder. So, when a legal due diligence is completed,
It simplifies the whole
it
process.
simplifies the whole process. There is no time for that required by the bank. Bank will not charge the customer processing fee for that particular aspect.
So this is the one of the thing the builders should take it from your example. I
Yeah.
feel like.
And we go through that trouble from our office because every bank you have to give all the title papers. Then their legal team, their lawyers will have some more documents required or some queries or some questions they will ask. You have to reply to that, you have to provide those documents. So there's a process. Now you're doing that process with not one bank but with 8 banks. You have to deploy that many people there, that much energy,
Right.
that much
Manpower,
time,
right.
manpower and all that. But once you do that, for your customer is very easy. Now if someone wants to take a loan from Union Bank or Canara Bank
Directly go with the
or
loan,
State
loan
Bank
procedure.
or Bank of Baroda or HDFC Bank, because so many banks are there. So we have identified few banks in Mangalore where people go. Some of them are private banks. Like in Mangalore, Karnataka Bank is a private bank which is popular with customers because it's a local bank. So we get legal due diligence done through Karnataka bank also.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do a project in Bangalore, I won't get due diligence done through Karnataka bank because it's not a one of the preferred banks there. Whereas in Bangalore, private banks are more preferred, like HDFC, ICICI, Kotak, IDFC. So many private banks are there. In Bangalore, preference is more towards the public sector bank. So here we will do from maybe 3 private banks: HDFC, ICICI, and Axis.
Mm-hmm.
All other small
Nice.
private banks we will
So, as a
leave out.
builder, one should also see the financial vehicle, like how
Yeah,
can you simplify the
simplify for
financial
the
procedure for
customers.
the customer.
Customers. Yeah.
Nice. Now let's come to the government and regulators. So, lot to speak here. So, I want to clarify, like I want a clarity on why rules exist and whom they serve. So, what's the main goal of real estate regulation? Is it safety? Is it affordability? Or is it urban planning?
See, the rules and regulations are primarily made for urban planning
Mm-hmm.
because no city can survive if it is not developed in a organized way. Because finally these local bodies like city corporation and others, they have to provide you all the civic infrastructure. So they will be able to cope with all the civic infrastructure if the development is as per planning. Others, in a place where there is very little civic infrastructure or very old civic infrastructure, and there suddenly huge developments come up, civic infrastructure will not take that load, it will collapse. So even the people who are living there will have great difficulties. What water they won't get, their drainage connection will not be there. It can be a nightmare. So to avoid that nightmare and to give a better quality of life to people, rules and regulations are a must.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then rules and
So
regulations
their
are
primary focus is city planning. So
city
later it comes to
planning. Yeah.
affordability and those things.
Because finally, all these bodies
Mm-hmm.
are to an extent, the top people of these government agencies, they are politicians. So like
Mm-hmm.
city corporation will be, mayor will be there,
Right.
corporators will be
Elected
there.
by
They are all
people.
elected people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what an elected person wants? He wants convenience to people, facilities to people, services to people. If in one area, if city corporation is not able to supply water because too much of development has happened and water facilities have not been augmented,
Mm-hmm.
you imagine the nightmare that elected person from that locality will have. People will go and do protest and dharnas and sit on his head.
Mm-hmm.
So even an elected representative wants an organized development, a proper planned development. Unplanned development is not good for any city. Then traffic. Development has to happen based on the roads and, the traffic it can take.
Mm-hmm.
So more and more development happens on the outskirts because there the roads are broader. Within the old city area, roads are narrow. Now to make them very broad is very difficult. You may be able to make it little broad here and there, but you can't convert a 20 feet lane in an old area to a 80 feet expressway.
Right.
It's not possible. So that's how the development happens. So it's more for urban planning,
Mm-hmm.
providing civic infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
The second aspect is there has to be an orderly, development. As everyone should have a level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
The law I follow, the same law is applicable to the other developer also. So it's a level playing field. And if we don't follow the rules and regulations, there will be chaos in the society.
Mm-hmm. True. Mm-hmm.
So no society can thrive based on anarchy and chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So those rules and regulations have to be implemented with a very iron hand. Like I told you, Supreme Court can even, they have ordered high courts and Supreme Courts demolition of buildings
Mm-hmm.
if they are not following rules.
Right.
It has to be,
Encroachment in
it has
Bangalore
to be
lands.
very, very strict.
Mm-hmm.
And certain developments have to be in certain areas. So like you cannot have a kind of a, say, like a liquor shop next to a school. So there are rules and regulations, to follow. You cannot have a mall in a quite peaceful residential area and cause chaos there. So it has to happen in a phased manner, in an orderly manner. And nobody should build more than required. Nobody should build on somebody else's land. Nobody should build right on the compound wall of their property. Otherwise, what will neighbor will be having no light and air because you have just gone and built there. So it's rules and regulations are to take care of all these issues, and they are strictly implemented. But of course, in our Indian system, there are certain loopholes and certain ways to manipulate things. They happen. But broadly speaking, in a city like Mangalore, rules and regulations are followed to a very large extent. Bigger the city, bigger the chaos.
Right. Bigger the corruption.
Bigger the corruption. I don't want to say that, but anyway.
That's the reality.
That's the reality.
Okay, can you share an example where a policy helped, or and one more example where it backfired? Like which rule you think has served this real estate or a city well, and which one has backfired?
All rules and regulations are designed to serve the society.
Right.
So I don't say that any rules and regulations are against the society or it can backfire. Okay. But ease of doing business has to come in. So like now if I have to put up a building and I need 20 permissions, 30 permissions, and it takes 6 months, 1 year to get those permissions. Now, who bears the cost? Finally, the home buyer has to bear all that cost.
Right.
So ease of doing business, whatever government may say, is becoming more and more complicated.
Very true.
So that is something which,
government has to simplify the procedure.
And not only this is applicable to real estate, even for industry,
even for entrepreneurship, business as well.
And all. Everywhere ease of doing business has to.
They just simply claim, but
go long
people
way,
know.
That's one aspect of it. Second aspect of it is we need reforms in bureaucracy. See, rules
so very broad terms. So
rules are one thing.
That? Yeah.
But who will implement these rules? The bureaucrats.
Who will eliminate the old not working rules?
So what happens is, unless and until we have good reforms in bureaucracy, you may see a situation that one rule is for one person and a similar rule is interpreted in other way for other person. So then that leads to the problem. That somebody gets the benefit, somebody does not get the benefit. Or somebody pays for the mistake, other person does not pay for the mistake.
Right.
So those kind of things, that's what I call it administrative reforms, where even bureaucrats are sensitized, trained, their knowledge level is also improved, things like that. And the people who have ended up in a difficult situation where they have taken rules and regulations for granted, that they feel that their interpretation is the right interpretation. But sometimes, say like I'll give a simple example. In Cochin, some 2 or 3 towers, I think 2 towers were built without coastal regulation zone permission.
So these guys didn't get the approval from
They didn't take only. And they went ahead, they built, they sold. And this property was falling under the panchayat land. But some cities have grown so big that even if you're outside the city, still it is part of the city. But for administrative purpose, city corporation does not apply there, panchayat applies there. So they took the panchayat permissions, panchayat gave them license, panchayat did not ask them to get CRZ permission. Now they use that as an excuse not to get CRZ permission. That we have got license from panchayat, we have built as per the license, we have got occupation certificate after completing the work, our building is perfectly legal. But as per law, whether panchayat has asked or not asked, you are supposed to get CRZ permission. Just because you got license, it doesn't mean license is legal. So they went on fighting, because the case was booked against them. They lost. Matter ended up in the Supreme Court. So builders make these errors.
So what happened now?
Supreme Court has ordered demolition. Both the buildings have been demolished.
Wow.
People who had bought those flats there, each flat was sold for 2 crores thereabout. and 2 towers. So people lost big time, and the flat owners also made a plea with the Supreme Court that, see, if you demolish, what happens to our money? So in that order, Supreme Court said you sue the builder to recover your money. Now it's very easy to pass an order like that, but from where will that builder
He has taken so much risk.
raise that kind of money to pay back all the customers now? Finally, all the flat owners lost their money. Buildings were demolished. So sometimes builders do make these mistakes out of ignorance or out of overconfidence, that by manipulation or by whatever ways and means, if they can get license and they build, it will be still considered as legal building. That's not correct.
But was there any objection from the coastal board on that building, though?
See, it is like this. Just because officers have not objected when it was constructed, it doesn't give you immunity. Similarly, when you are making an illegal building, if city corporation officials have not objected to your construction, it doesn't make your building illegal. It doesn't make your building legal. Officers can be proceeded against separately.
Right.
That's a separate action. Most of the time, it does not happen. Just because they have looked the other way, it doesn't make your building legal. So the only way your building will be legal, you follow all the rules and regulations. You don't manipulate any law. Even if there are pliable officers who are willing to give you permissions through other means, do not fall for that. Follow all rules, regulations, take all the permissions as per law, build as per law, then there is absolutely no problem.
How big is the law? I mean, how complicated? I mean, does it really cut the tail of the builder on?
See, what happens is, if the matter goes to the court of law, court of law will interpret things very seriously, and court of law does not tolerate violations or irregularities in construction. They take this as a very serious kind of an offense. They take it very seriously. But if you hope the same kind of action through bureaucrats, it may not happen.
What does that mean?
Well, bureaucrats, they don't want to, get into this. Sometimes they are, pliable. Sometimes political pressure can come on them and they may not take action.
Right.
See, they may get orders from the political elected leaders. So they may not be in a position.
So builders should avoid going to the court at any cost. That means legal.
I won't say that. I will only say, follow the law. If someone challenges you, you have done as per your law.
Right.
So you don't have anything to worry.
So we have covered from every angle, real estate from everybody's angle. Who creates the law, though? I mean, who creates these policies on the government side?
Is the state government. Various laws are passed in the assembly.
Okay, it depends on the state-wise.
So for everything is a codified law. Nothing is unwritten law. There are acts, there are rules, then there are time to time notifications issued, circulars issued, government orders issued, time to time amendments are done. So government is very active in making these laws.
For suppose one builder has constructed a 50-floor building, and after that a law was passed, like in that zone, you can only construct up to 30-floor building.
The norm is very clear in legal terms that the day you start the building, you have taken a license. Right. License was given to you as per the applicable law on that date. So that law will be applicable to you. Any changes thereafter will not be applicable to you.
Got it. Yes.
Done?
Yeah.
Just 3 hours. I don't think
I'm so sorry.
You are not at dinner. I am not at dinner.
Yes.
I am still in the office because there was one podcast. This thing, no. So it was done in my office only. Yeah, now I'm done. I'm just winding up now.